From the bloody footprints in the kitchen, the foyer, on the front entryway rug near the body, to bloody fingerprints smeared on the wall and hair left behind, assumed to be by the perpetrator, not a single one belonged to Marcellus Williams.
Hey y'all, it's Destiny, and could you imagine being on death row for a crime that it was proven that you didn't do, but they're still trying to unalive you? Well, this is what this man is going through, Marcellus Williams. I found some videos talking about his case, and y'all have to hear this.
A 55-year-old man on death row in Missouri is set to be executed in 2 weeks, although a prosecutor says his conviction should be overturned. The man's name is Marcellus Williams, and in 2001, he was convicted in a first-degree murder and sentenced to die by lethal injection in the death of a 42-year-old woman. Her name was Leisha Gale. She was a former reporter, actually, and a social worker at the time. She was found stabbed to death. Let me get to what's happening right now. So the prosecutor says it's all about the murder weapon. The prosecutor says recent testing shows Williams's DNA was not on the murder weapon. Therefore, the prosecutor wants the conviction overturned. The state's attorney general, although, wants the conviction to stand, saying everyone involved agrees that the murder weapon was mishandled by the state at Williams' initial trial, and therefore they don't believe they can tell anything. They believe the evidence is too contaminated to determine anything. Enter Williams' own attorneys now, who say it is incredibly unfair that the murder weapon was mishandled. Therefore, he will never be able to fully prove his innocence because this crucial piece of evidence, this most important piece of evidence in the case, was mishandled. Our state's attorney general says there is no evidence that proves the murder weapon was mishandled in bad faith. And the St. Louis County Circuit judge making this final decision here so far says that there is no evidence submitted that definitively proves his innocence, and therefore the conviction and the death row sentence will stand and has to stand. And so right now, I believe the execution date is September 24th. And so there's this push for the governor to provide clemency or the courts to step in any way. Either way, I will just say this is a very interesting case that you all should look into. This is Marcellus Williams right here.
Another woman also talked about the situation, so let's listen to what she has to say about it.
From the bloody footprints in the kitchen, the foyer, on the front entryway rug near the body, to bloody fingerprints smeared on the wall and hair left behind, assumed to be by the perpetrator, not a single one belonged to Marcellus Williams. And yet he is currently on death row, set to be lethally injected in just 5 days, despite attorneys and prosecutors saying the mishandled evidence in this case would exonerate Marcellus Williams. There is overwhelming evidence that Marcellus Williams' trial was constitutionally unfair, including revelations that the state contaminated the most critical evidence in the case, the murder weapon. Just last month, the prosecutor admitted to handling the murder weapon without gloves 5 times. Earlier this year, St. Louis County prosecutor Leslie Bell was hopeful that this conviction would be overturned since they were able to do DNA tests now that they weren't able to back in 2001. DNA test that showed Marcellus Williams' DNA was not on the murder weapon. Y'all, they are still planning to execute this man. They are still planning to execute this man. What we do next is so important, but it's so simple. Go to the link in my bio, and this is where you will find Marcellus Williams' link. Scroll down, and you're gonna find a way to call Missouri Governor Mike Parson, and we're gonna call him over and over and over again until Marcellus Williams is free. Ready, set, go.
Now, a lot of people are trying to figure out what they can do to help this man, and another woman posted this on her TikTok, so watch this.
Thank you so much to the sis for leaving this comment. So if you text Marcellus to 97016, it'll give you a link to sign a petition. You will get a message basically saying standard messaging and data rates apply. So whatever your phone plan charges you for texting people, that's going to apply. That's all that it's saying. So you can go ahead and it'll take you straight to the website and you can go ahead and sign a petition. Thank you guys so much for even watching the video, commenting, trying to boost the video, and calling. I'm pretty sure they probably took the phones off the hook by now, but I just truly appreciate y'all. Stuff like this just really it really gets to me. It really bothers me. I know you can see by my eyes. I've been crying on and off all day because it just bothers me a lot. Stuff like this really gets to me. I just pray that one day we see the end of this. We see this not happening anymore. And this is just a moment in history that our kids can just read about, and that it doesn't become the everyday occurrence that we see.
What doesn't make sense to me is the fact that they can still put him to death even though the DNA is not in favor of him doing this. They found other people's DNA at the scene. It wasn't his. So even though there's no proof that he did it, they're still going to unalive him. And the craziest part is it is happening this month. Just imagine how this man is feeling. Imagine how his family is dealing with this. How can this even be legal? But y'all have got to let me know what you think about the situation. Did you hear about this case? What do you think about them not letting him go free, knowing that he didn't do it? How is it legal to still keep him in prison? Just let me know all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section. Thank y'all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will definitely see you in the next one.
This is Marcellus Williams, and as of today, September 17th, he has 7 days, 11 hours, and 30 minutes until he will be executed by the state of Missouri for a murder he did not commit. Mr. Williams has currently been on death row for 24 years for the crime of first-degree murder, robbery, and burglary. However, all the forensic evidence found at the crime completely exonerates him. If anything, new DNA test results say that he can conclusively be excluded as a suspect. The Innocence Project does a great job of outlining the key facts to know about Marcellus Williams' case, but I want people to really focus on the second one, which is that the prosecution's case against Mr. Williams was largely based on the testimony of two incentivized witnesses. One of those witnesses was a jailhouse snitch. And USA Today points out that this jailhouse informant did testify in exchange for a reduced sentence, which is extremely common in these sorts of cases. Despite all this evidence that points to Mr. Williams' innocence, he is still scheduled for execution in 7 days. I think this is an absolutely egregious miscarriage of justice, and if you agree, I really urge you to go to the Innocence Project's website and sign the petition to stop his execution. I would also say, if you are a resident of the state of Missouri or know anyone in the state of Missouri, please reach out to the governor and ask him to stay Mr. Williams' execution. We cannot live in a country that values the finality of a jury decision, so much so that we execute clearly innocent people. That is not American, and it is not humane.